and it's so well sealed. There's no way any of the toxic biological agent can get from the ampule into the beaker water. And the researcher sees it there, and she takes it out. And this actually happened in Germany in the 1960s. And they test the water that was in the beaker, and it tested healthy and ordinary. So they fed the water to lab rats. The lab rats all died.
Oh my!
Now what that means is that it's the information. Remember, through action at a distance, went beyond the seal in this ampule into the ordinary water and gave it a new set of instructions, which is to kill. So that's how powerful this can be, and there's actually many cases documented very similar to that. So on the positive end, holy water, I mean, you really get an appreciation for the power of holy water and why in all of the world religions, including the native Indians, there are these rituals around water. And also for the ancient mystic Jews, there was the rituals of bathing and cleansing the body before prayer. And there is a profound meaning to that the Spirit of God or the spiritual force can bestow itself on the waters. But now in the healing arena, it's really, in fact, I gave the Sound of the Sun to Len Horowitz, who's been on your show many times.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so astounded by studying the frequencies in the Sound of the Sun, he compared it to known frequencies that are known to heal the body, that are actually known to be healing resonant frequencies. And he quoted many of them in this, and he's actually including it in his new paper. So I'm finding that this discovery of the Sound of the Sun is new. It corresponds with all of our ancient literature about the mystique of the sun, including the ancient Egyptians and the Babylonians, the early Christians and the early Jews, that in the ancient Hindus, that the sun's vibrational, you think of, for example, Ruth Drown's vibrational medicine, the medicine of radionics, of sending vibrations to a person through their blood. What happens if we use this master sound for healing the body? Well, Len Horowitz has confirmed that the healing frequencies are there. They can be measured. So when you put the memory of that and that structure in water and you drink it, well, because this is so brand new, we can only imagine what's going to happen. It literally could be the Holy Grail.
Well, what fascinates me, being an alternative medicine buff, I'd like to see how this changes things within your body if we ingest the good stuff.
Yeah, and how long it holds also is also a question to be answered. I mean, that is something I know from talking to naturopathic doctors who are using and studying, restructured water. If we buy restructured water and it's in a plastic bottle and it travels around in trucks and, it gets to us with all this added information, it's probably not the same thing anymore. I mean, the real truth of it is, a lot of these things are just sales gimmicks, but I believe having a water restructuring unit that's low cost and available to the world, according to the United Nations, over 2 billion people in the world don't have access to clean drinking water and bathing water. So there are new technologies that, and people that I work with, like the World's Nest Group and Robert Plar and Michael Fulton, who have been on your show, that there's new technologies that can take water right out of the air, right out of the humidity. And if you can take that water and give it structural information that's positive, we actually find that, according to NASA GOES satellite data, all the countries where there's no clean drinking water, these countries, of course, you look at Asia Minor, you see that they're loaded with humidity. Living in some of the most tropical and subtropical climates in the world, and even parts of Africa, there's a lot of water in the humidity factor. So there are new machines that are available that can actually take the water out of the air and make drinking water and bathing water. And it's really amazing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I always thought about what would a huge dehumidifier, how it would work, put into these tropical areas, and it would just suck the water out of the atmosphere.
Yeah, you see, it's already being done. This technology is available, now through the World's Nest Group, and there are people working on this. I look at this is really an interesting idea because it's related, but it's off subject. We just had this new $700 billion bailout package, right?
Yeah.
What would happen if we put $50 billion into the companies that are building new electric cars so that they could build hundreds of thousands of them? What would happen if we gave $1 billion to, this new technology that's emerging that can pull water right out of the humidity, and we could supply water to all the villages in Africa and India?
Gee, David, that seems too logical.
I know, but exactly. But what's amazing about it is, I believe one of the reasons a lot of those Wall Street companies and banks failed is they loaned money to business models that are from the old world that aren't going to survive the next generation of human life. And if some of these institutions would start giving money and research and development into these new ideas, you would see a positive economy, a positive cash flow. If I could do anything,
I would love, for example, to see a test where let's say, God forbid, but we had 10 people with the all similar types of cancer, mm-hmm. and then you had 10 people with similar types of that cancer, mm-hmm. and you gave the good, I'll call it the good water, you gave them the good water, and the other ones just did what they did, okay, mm-hmm. kind of just drank out of a tap or something. I would be very fascinated and interested to see what would happen, what those results would be.
Oh, I would too. I think I'll run that idea by the researchers. I think it's a great experiment. What would you do with $700 billion if you could spend it?
Well, I wouldn't be bailing out Wall Street, that's for sure. I would divvy it up. Yeah. I would try to help the cities, of course, and shore up education and create a investment pool for innovative technology like you just mentioned. We were talking about if people could look at this through a microscope, and you said they have to flash freeze it real quick. So I don't think everybody's got that capability, right?
No, not everybody has the capability, but what it shows us is that, you see, when a waveform propagates, whether it's consciousness or whether it's a sound wave or informational wave, water is so sensitive, it vibrates in the pattern and structure. So when you freeze it instantaneously, it's like you're capturing a photograph in a brief moment in time and what that information actually looks like. But there's actually deeper levels of information than just waveforms. For example, we're talking on the radio right now, and you can see the waveforms of the radio waves traveling through space, but inside of that are our voices, which is a deeper level of the information. And, the deeper you get into this water mystery, I mean, it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating because I also look at, going back to the beginning of the show, you add the spiritual element that you think, and you go back to the time of Pythagoras, the discovery and the knowledge of what was known as the monad, which was the singular force in the universe that pre-existed the gods and the goddesses, and God and the goddess. I mean, this is an idea that Pythagoras got from the oldest civilizations in the world, all the way back from Sumerian, Babylonian, and Egyptian parts of the world. And then you go, if you study the ancient Judaic literature, you find the same thing, that there was this force that pre-existed everything. And then it divides into male and female, or positive and negative forces, which we see in the quantum universe. And you see these fields. I mean, all of the literature actually shows us this, that these consciousness super singularities, if you see them as giant rings that pre-established themselves even before the Big Bang, they show us that consciousness pre-existed the human or biological forms, and it creates hydrogen and spreads itself over the universe as an informational storage unit for that consciousness. And then eventually that hydrogen takes the form of the divine human. Now, going all the way back to your photo on your website, which I don't know if you've seen the one.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. You see this form of the Virgin Mary on this woman's glasses, right? That's the one I'm speaking about.
Uh-huh.
And you think, how did that happen? How did water, tears on her glasses take the shape, which is just salt and water, I believe if that's what it was, because someone was praying in this church, how did it take on the shape of the Virgin Mary? I mean, it's so clear. I mean, it's an amazing image. Consciousness told it to do that. It told it to do that. So what would happen at the moment of creation when